Good morning, guys. What is going on? Once again, this is the Club of the Man 1993, catching up on some baseball news as we have one of two recent managerial firings in baseball to talk about. As one had been rumored for a while now that it'd be happening, and it did finally happen back on June the 3rd, 2022, as the Phillies relieved Joe Girardi of his duties as manager. Girardi had been with the Phillies actually since this is his third year with the Phillies. He was hired before the 2020 season after he had previously spent 2008 to 2017 as the Yankees manager. Which his mission statement there was to keep leading the Yankees to the World Series. He had number 27 at the time, and he did lead the Yankees to the World Series in 2009 and changed the number, of course, to 28, 10 on getting the 28th World Series. But then, of course, when it got to his 10-year mark, they didn't want to give him, tenure because, they hadn't really, gotten back to the World Series yet. So they did let him go, and he was brought into the Phillies before the 2020 season in hopes of, with his, experience being a front runner would help the Phillies, who were on the verge, and I mean this, they had the talent. They were on the verge of reaching the postseason again for the first time since their World Series caliber team 12 years ago they had. And unfortunately, it never got back there, and it started to take a backwards turn despite the fact the people that he had to work with. Some, he was good with it. He had Andrew McCutchen until this year. He has Bryce Harper. He has he had Didi Gregorius, his former shortstop of the Yankees. He has Gene Segura, Rhys Hoskins, and now this year they brought in Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber to load up that outfield. And unfortunately, it just hasn't quite gone to plan. Of course, when he was relieved of his duties, bench coach Rob Thomson was promoted to interim manager for the rest of the season. They had also let go of coaching assistant Bobby Maykem, and then of course they promoted Mike Calitri to fill in as bench coach for Rob Thomson for the remainder of the season. Of course, the Phillies, President Dave Dombrowski said, it's been a frustrating season, and we feel that we haven't played up to our capabilities, and we just felt, it was time for, a fresh voice to lead the clubhouse, was needed. Again, no offense to Girardi, he's a great manager, but it just wasn't working for him in the Phillies, unfortunately. I mean, I think Girardi's he's only 57, I believe. He can go manage somewhere else. I really think, Girardi, can go manage somewhere else. It's just sometimes you get a manager with great experience like Girardi in there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Look what happened to when Jim Tracy was a manager of the Pirates. He was he had, had a strong, repertoire whenever he was the manager with the Dodgers. But the Pirates didn't work out. Well, I keep to say it's not really the manager's fault, it's the ownership for that. So this one, the Phillies are saying, partially ownership, but also partially, the clubhouse as well. But yeah, the Phillies just, again, I think at the time of this release we're 22 and 29 and 12 games out of first place. The Phillies, though, have been known this year as one of the worst defensive teams in the season. And, of course, they did get the signings that come this year of Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos. Schwarber is, hitting the long ball he's supposed to. Castellanos, not too bad, but not as good of a year as he had last year with the Reds. They also have Bryce Harper, of course, who is apparently playing with a torn ligament in his elbow, I think it was, they said. So he can't, he's been limited to DH, designated hitter, designated hitter duties recently because he can't really throw. So again, he may have to have surgery on that, may miss some time this year, which would absolutely suck if that happened, because he was, for a couple of years when Harper was with the Nationals, he had some hampering injuries that shortened some of his seasons at first. So he definitely, he's put up great numbers so far, and he only turns 30 this October, but imagine if he didn't have those nagging injuries, how much higher up he'd be with his career. I mean, he still has 9-10 years left on his big contract he signed with the Phillies a couple years ago. The bullpen, of course, of the Phillies may not be backed up quite as far. But of course, also the biggest problem is they walk a lot of people as well. And like they have the people, they have, Nick Nelson, Andrew Bellotti, and James Norwood. They have Corey Knebel as their closer. And then with guys like Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Kyle Gibson, and Zach Eflin, like they have the pieces to be a strong team for sure. It's just they're just not performing at the level right now. But yeah, Schwarber, he's hit like 16 homers. He's only hitting like around 200. We have Alec Baum and Reese Hoskins who fade after their hot starts. They still got, JT Realmuto, who is not at the level he's at, and Gene Segura, that was recently lost due to injury. So yeah, there's been some other like hampering factors too with like injuries and whatnot, but the Phillies, who are that team that I even agree for the past couple of years, had those pieces to be a playoff contending team, and they just didn't pan out. And again, it was just, like not all Girardi's fault, but it was just a time where it just felt like, hey, we need a fresh change of pace inside the clubhouse, and unfortunately, Girardi was the one who got the boot. So, like as I said before, I really think that Girardi could still manage a team. Again, his experience is still, qualified for the management of the team. Just unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him in the Phillies. So, I wish him the best. I hope, he finds another opportunity for sure. And he will be able to lead a team back to the playoffs and to the World Series, as he's definitely capable of doing for sure. So, guys, that's my thoughts on Joe Girardi being fired as manager of the Phillies the other week. What are your guys' thoughts on Joe Girardi getting fired? Where do you think, which other team, that maybe could use a new face in the clubhouse, who do you think should grab Girardi? And who do you think, after the season ends, who should replace Rob Thomson as interim manager? Unless Thompson does a great job as manager, gets the interim tag ripped off. It's happened a few times. You never know. Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter as well, at DemandAirboy93. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, everybody. No escape.